In the world of cultivation, there are enemies you can defeat, and there are enemies who defeat themselves. Wang Lin arrived expecting a battle that would shake the heavens. What he did not expect was an ancient treasure that betrayed its master and an ascendant who would be delivered, bound and trembling, straight into his hands. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. You provoked me twice. And now that I have come here in person today, you ask me who I am. Wang Lin's voice was calm to the extreme, so calm that it was impossible to discern even the slightest hint of emotion. Neither joy nor anger could be found within it. My surname is Wang. I do not recall ever offending anyone by that name. Inside the White Castle, the short old man sat silently, his expression dark and gloomy. He could already tell that Wang Lin was anything but ordinary. This man had truly stepped into the early Ascendant stage, and more than that, he had already forged his own Tao. Among the three women standing before the old man, Sun Yunshan's younger sister, Sun Ruonan, suddenly spoke in a trembling voice. He should be Wang Lin. Wang Lin. The short old man's body trembled, his expression instantly sinking. Never in his wildest imagination had he thought that the insignificant cultivator he once casually tried to capture and turn into a celestial guardian would reach such a terrifying level of cultivation. Had he known this back then, given his cautious and calculating nature, he would never have provoked Wang Lin. After pondering for a moment, the short old man slowly spoke. Fellow cultivator Wang, earlier it was I who acted recklessly and offended you twice. You have already slain 2 of my celestial guardians. Let us consider this matter settled. Today I will not make things difficult for you. You may leave. From this day forth our paths shall never cross again. The moment these words reached the ears of the 3 women, all of them were stunned. They knew this ancestor far too well. Though his cultivation was high, his heart was narrow and vindictive. For someone to knock directly on his doorstep without being struck down, no. To be let go so easily was something they had never witnessed before. Sun Ronan was especially incredulous. Though she did not know Wang Lin well, she believed that no matter how fierce he might be, he could not possibly compare to the ancestor. After all, the ancestor was a true celestial. With a single spell, he could completely suppress 4 peak, late-stage soul transformation cultivators. Moreover, the ancestor still possessed 8 celestial guardians. If all 8 attacked together, how could they possibly lose? Yet Wang Lin continued to walk toward the castle, as if he had not heard a single word. He shook his head slightly and said indifferently, 2 celestial guardians are nothing more than broken jades. How could that possibly offset the crime of offending me? The expression of the short old man inside the castle changed drastically. His eyes burst forth with a ray of golden light as he spoke coldly. What arrogance! You are merely an early-stage Ascendant cultivator. Do you truly believe I cannot kill you? Summon the remaining 8 celestial guardians. Invoke the celestial emperor and slay this man. The moment his words fell, 8 figures shot out from the castle like streaks of lightning. Among them were both men and women, each radiating the pressure and aura of an Ascendant cultivator. Wang Lin's expression did not change in the slightest as he coldly observed them. The 8 figures suddenly sat down cross-legged in mid-air, their positions forming a mysterious formation imbued with the aura of heavenly law. Their hands moved ceaselessly, forming one seal after another. A surge of majestic celestial spiritual energy erupted from their bodies and fused together above them in a bizarre manner. The energy twisted and condensed, gradually taking the shape of a phantom in the sky, radiating waves of overwhelming celestial might. The phantom slowly solidified, eventually transforming into a middle-aged man clad in a green robe. His long hair flowed freely behind him, and in his hand he held a green longsword. An aura akin to the might of the heavens themselves spread outward. At that moment, all surrounding cultivators knelt down in fear and reverence, shouting in unison, "Lower realm cultivators, greet the celestial emperor." Laughter echoed from within the castle. The short old man's voice was filled with unrestrained arrogance as he shouted, "Wang Lin, this old man will not deceive you. I originate from the celestial realm. After its shattering, I arrived here by sheer fortune. Every spell I wield is a true celestial art, far beyond anything you can resist. It is not too late for you to leave now. But if you insist on provoking me further, you will undoubtedly die." Wang Lin's eyes shimmered with an indescribable light as he gazed at the phantom holding the green sword. Slowly he raised his right hand. The sky darkened. The underworld river descended from the void swirling around Wang Lin before surging forward, charging directly toward the celestial emperor's phantom. At that instant, the celestial spiritual energy within the 8 guardians erupted violently like a raging tempest. Through the seals in their hands, the energy poured into the phantom. An unimaginable majesty suddenly spread out from the middle-aged man. His eyes seemed to awaken with intelligence as he stared directly at Wang Lin, then calmly pointed his green sword at him. Wang Lin's pupils contracted sharply. Though the gesture carried no tangible attack, an overwhelming instinct screamed at him to retreat. He felt as though his origin soul would shatter if he did not step back. The sensation was terrifying, yet not unfamiliar. Divine retribution had once carried the same oppressive force. Wang Lin cultivated against the heavens. His Tao heart was unyielding. He forcibly suppressed the urge to retreat and instead took a step forward. Yet before his foot could fully land, the 8 celestial guardians simultaneously coughed up blood, their eyes instantly dimming. The blood they spat out contained the totality of their celestial and life energy. The 8 mouthfuls of blood were absorbed by the phantom. Instantly, its gaze grew even more intelligent, more terrifying. As Wang Lin's foot was about to touch the ground, the phantom opened its mouth and uttered a single word. The word was soundless. Yet within Wang Lin's ears, it roared like the collapse of the heavens. Wang Lin took a deep breath and closed his eyes. His foot landed. At that moment, the bodies of the 8 celestial guardians trembled violently before their eyes went completely dark. Simultaneously, the underworld river swept through the sky. The phantom of the middle-aged man quivered, then shattered into countless fragments. That suffocating pressure vanished without a trace. What a powerful illusionary attack! Wang Lin's eyes turned cold as he snorted softly. He advanced once more, merging with the underworld river. The river surged like a yellow dragon sweeping past the 8 guardians seated on the ground. The instant it passed, their bodies collapsed, dragged into the river and sealed forever, unable to escape. 8 broken jades flew out. Wang Lin caught them calmly and tossed them into his storage bag. A furious roar erupted from the castle as a strand of exceedingly pure celestial spiritual energy burst forth, condensing as it shot straight toward Wang Lin. The underworld river surged upward, forming a pillar that seemed capable of supporting the heavens themselves. Wang Lin stood within the river as the strand of celestial energy entered and vanished without a trace. "Activate," Wang Lin said softly. The underworld river suddenly dispersed, transforming into a massive vortex that swept across the land. The white castle collapsed instantly, the sound of earth-shattering destruction echoing endlessly. The short old man burst out, hovering in mid-air. The 3 women followed coldly, observing from a distance. The old man's eyes darted nervously. He no longer resembled a dignified cultivator, but rather a cornered thief. Rage filled his face as he shouted, "Wang Lin, I have endured you time and again, because I did not wish to become your enemy, but you are truly ungrateful. Considering how difficult it is for lower realm cultivators to reach your level, I will leave you a path to survival. Leave now, but if you continue to enrage me, do not blame me for ruthlessly killing you." Wang Lin said nothing. His eyes turned icy as he raised a finger. A finger of death shot forth. The old man's expression changed drastically. A trace of solemnity flickered across his eyes as he took a deep breath and spat out a dense mass of celestial, spiritual energy. It transformed into a fog that enveloped the finger of death. Sizzling sounds rang out before the 2 forces annihilated one another. "You forced me. The short old man roared. His face darkened as he reached into his storage bag and pulled out a fist-sized piece of blue jade. Forming seals, he shouted, "Celestial seed!" The blue jade trembled violently, then shattered into countless blue threads that hummed sharply as they spread out like writhing serpents. The moment these threads appeared, the surrounding cultivators' faces turned pale with fear. Wang Lin's eyes gleamed as he gazed at them. He spoke slowly, "Celestial beast feed." Though the surrounding cultivators did not understand his words, the short old man's expression changed once again. He exclaimed in shock. You know, Wang Lin had sensed something familiar when he saw similar threads within Sun Yunshan. Now he was certain this was the celestial beast feed he had encountered in the celestial realm when he once teamed up with a disciple of the Dalu sword sect. He had never explained this to Sun Yunshan. The old man no longer cared how Wang Lin recognized it. He still could not fully control this celestial beast feed, and releasing it all at once was a desperate gamble. Normally, with his mid-stage Ascendant cultivation, he would never be driven to such extremes, but he had difficulties he could not reveal. "Devour him," the short old man shouted, pointing fiercely at the blue threads. Thousands of blue strands surged toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin was utterly calm. He had once faced armies of celestial beast feed countless times larger than this. A mere 1,000 posed no threat to him. He patted his storage bag and a simple soul flag appeared in his hand. Long prepared for this moment, he waved it, and the Kilin soul he obtained from the soul refining sect emerged. Though it was only a soul, it still retained traces of its ancient inheritance. As it appeared, it let out a thunderous roar. Its massive head snapped toward the incoming celestial beast feed. A burst of golden light erupted from the Kilin's eyes. Its gaze was like that of a demon starved for tens of thousands of years, finally beholding its prey. Celestial Kilin. The moment the short old man saw Wang Lin release the Kilin, his expression changed drastically. In that instant, he realized that something was terribly wrong. When the Kilin's gaze fell upon him, his heart trembled violently. All of the celestial beast feeds began to shudder the instant the Kilin appeared, as though they had encountered their natural nemesis. Piercing, shrill cries rang out as they turned around, without the slightest hesitation, fleeing in panic. It wasn't only those in the sky. Even the cultivators on the ground began to tremble as if enduring unbearable agony. Green lines surfaced on their foreheads, condensing into distinct green dots at the center of each head. Seeing that the celestial beast feeds were about to escape, the Kilin snorted softly. An invisible stream of gas burst forth from its nostrils, spreading outward like a silent roar imbued with a mysterious force. Instantly, all of the surrounding celestial beast feeds quivered in fear, no longer daring to flee. The Kilin moved forward and inhaled deeply. In a single breath, all of the celestial beast feeds were devoured, transformed into pure energy exceedingly nourishing to celestial beasts. The scene left the short old man utterly dumbfounded. The Kilin licked its lips and shifted its gaze toward the green dots on the cultivators' foreheads. Clearly, it had not eaten its fill. The old man's expression turned ugly. Without hesitation, he reached into his bag of holding once more and pulled out another item. It was a brush. Its body was crystal clear, while its bristles were snow white, as if they had never once touched ink. The moment the brush appeared, it released a majestic pressure that spread in all directions. Even the Kilin could not help but reveal a trace of shock under this overwhelming aura. The old man glared ferociously at Wang Lin and roared, "Little brat Wang Lin, since you recognize the celestial beast feed, do you recognize this?" Wang Lin's eyes narrowed slightly. He said nothing. Instead, he slapped his bag of holding, and the god-slaying war chariot appeared. With its true inheritance activated, its former weakness of slow activation was completely gone. The short old man shouted, "Even if you don't recognize it, I'll tell you. This is something I carried with me back in the celestial realm. I used it to enlighten lower realm cultivators. This old man is truly considering how difficult it is for you to cultivate to this level. So scram now. If you don't leave, I will truly attack." Wang Lin looked at the old man and spoke slowly. "You don't need to keep telling me to leave. I have already noticed something. Although you are at the mid-stage Ascendant, you are just like those celestial guardians. None of you possess even a trace of origin energy within your bodies. The short old man's greatest secret was laid bare in an instant. Fury surged through him as embarrassment overwhelmed his reason. He waved the brush violently, then coughed up a mouthful of blood and used it as ink to draw a symbol in the air. The moment the symbol appeared, a terrifying force spread outward from it. For the first time, shock appeared on Wang Lin's face, but it quickly transformed into excitement. He stared at the symbol, then shifted his gaze to the brush. The excitement in his eyes exploded into uncontrollable joy. Wang Lin was all too familiar with this symbol. It was exactly the same as the one he had once encountered on the path outside the cave. He had studied that symbol countless times and attempted to draw it again and again. Yet none of his attempts carried any power. He had never been able to reproduce the astonishing might of the four-stroke symbol, and that regret had lingered deep within his heart. But now here it was again. Although the symbol before him contained only a single stroke, it was a true symbol, and its power was immense. Wang Lin's gaze caused the short old man's heart to tremble violently. He recognized that gaze. It was the same gaze the Qilin had shown when it looked at the celestial beast feeds. At that moment, Wang Lin released the most intense battle intent he had felt since entering the demon spirit land. He pointed at the god-slaying war chariot and shouted, "Thunder Beast!" Thunder roared as lightning split the heavens, crashing directly onto the war chariot. Amid the lightning, the silver-horned Thunder Beast emerged. The instant it appeared, it let out a deafening roar. The clouds churned violently, the sky rumbled, and lightning instantly blanketed the heavens. At the same time, the Qilin roared as well. Though its roar was weaker than that of the Thunder Beast, it was by no means insignificant. The roar shook the green dots loose from the surrounding cultivators' bodies, and the Qilin devoured them all. Just as this happened, the symbol drawn by the brush shot toward Wang Lin. But at that exact moment, the Thunder Beast stepped forward and roared once more. Endless strands of lightning descended from the sky like rain, creating a breathtaking scene as they struck the symbol again and again. Although the symbol was powerful, the short old man only knew how to draw this single stroke. Unable to unleash its true might, he could only watch helplessly as the symbol was weakened by the lightning until it finally collapsed. After a brief moment of shock, the short old man's body trembled violently. Fear flooded his heart. Without the slightest hesitation, he turned around and fled. Hundreds of years ago, after his lucky encounter, he had managed to gain control over a large number of cultivators. Yet because he was cautious, no, because he was inherently timid, he had never dared to provoke Ascendant cultivators or demon general-level experts. His cowardice was innate. He had reached the late stage of soul transformation long ago. Yet he never possessed the courage to attempt breaking through to Ascendant. He feared death. Only after gathering 10 celestial guardians did he slowly forget this caution. He began personally capturing cultivators to fuse them with broken jades, hoping to nurture more experts at the level of celestial guardians. What kind of background does this damned Wang Lin have? How can he be this terrifying? The short old man cursed inwardly as he fled. If I escape this time, I will definitely smash the head of that cultivator from ancient Demon City who fed me information about Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes burned with fervor. Even if he had to exhaust all the celestial spiritual energy within his body, he would not allow this short old man to escape. His eyes were completely red, but not from slaughter. They were red from greed. In Wang Lin's eyes, the old man was nothing less than a walking treasure vault. He could not help but wonder, with so many treasures, how had no one robbed this old man over all these years? He did not know that the old man had always been timid and cautious. Only in recent decades had he grown bolder. In the past, he had only captured cultivators from small sects. Recently, however, he had dared to seize disciples from major sects, capturing a Blue Division disciple of the Heavenly Fate sect being. one of his boldest acts. Although the short old man was at the mid-stage Ascendant, his cultivation had been achieved through special means. Against a weak early-stage Ascendant, he could still hold his own. But against someone like Wang Lin, someone who could contend with true mid-stage Ascendants, his strength was utterly insignificant. Moreover, while he possessed many powerful treasures, he could barely use them. Being able to unleash even 1% of their true power was already his limit. As he fled, the old man felt as though he had returned to the days before his lucky encounter, once again a late-stage soul, transformation cultivator being hunted by powerful enemies. Rage filled his heart as he cursed Wang Lin, but a ray of black light rapidly closed in from behind. Panicked, the old man hurriedly drew a symbol with the brush to block the attack. Then, gritting his teeth, he stomped his right foot. Flames burst forth from his body, and when they vanished, so did he. Wang Lin's eyes grew even redder. Although the old man's combat ability was mediocre, his escape techniques were astonishing. In less than half an hour, he had already used 10 different spells, each one shocking in its own way. This was the 11th escape spell, completely different from the previous 10. Wang Lin sneered and teleported after him. Spreading out his divine sense, he instantly located the old man 15,000 kilometers away. The flames around the old man dissipated as he hurriedly fled. Suddenly, his face twisted into bitterness as Wang Lin stepped out of the void directly in front of him and charged forward. The old man hesitated, then clenched his teeth and hurled the brush in his hand away. It floated in mid-air as ripples spread around it, as though it were about to pierce through the void and vanish. After throwing the brush, the old man hastily formed a seal. A metallic aura enveloped his entire body, and he fled at full speed, his velocity increasing by 100-fold. Little brat Wang Lin, that celestial brush truly belonged to a celestial. If it disappears into the void, it will be extremely difficult for you to ever find it again. His voice echoed from afar. Wang Lin's expression remained calm. He touched his bag of holding, and the celestial sword and half-moon blade flew out. Xu Liguo appeared instantly. Without needing instructions, Xu Liguo understood. He roared as he stared at the black blade. Little black. Speed. Faster. I want that brush. The black blade flashed and vanished, carrying Xu Liguo straight into the void. Wang Lin took a step and activated greater teleportation, continuing his pursuit. As the old man fled, he sensed Wang Lin closing in once again and nearly burst into tears. What does he want? I already threw away my celestial brush. Why won't he let me go? Feeling Wang Lin's divine sense rapidly approaching, the old man clenched his teeth and pulled out a green glowing net. Muttering to himself, he said, compared to the divine soul brush, my control over this celestial capture net is even worse. I've never dared to use it against an enemy. Please, celestial capture net. This time you must recognize the right target. It must be fate that I found you right. Please, don't trap me again. He was utterly unwilling to use this net unless he had no other choice. After obtaining it, he once tested its power in secret, only to find himself trapped for 3 full days. Unwilling to give up, he tried again, and trapped himself for another 3 days. Only on the 3rd attempt did he finally manage to trap a piece of wood. The old man wore a sorrowful expression as he held the celestial capture net. In the end, he chose not to run anymore and stood still in mid-air. He knew this far too well. He was nothing more than an empty mid-stage Ascendant cultivator. Against Wang Lin, who had stepped into Ascendant through his own strength and forged his own Tao, escape was nearly impossible. Being captured was only a matter of time. Thus, he decided to gamble everything this once. If the celestial capture net happened to be in a good mood, it could trap Wang Lin for 3 days. With a 3-day head start, he would be able to flee beyond Wang Lin's reach, no matter what. And if fortune favored him even more, if Wang Lin were truly captured, then perhaps he could use secret medicines to refine Wang Lin into a genuine low-grade celestial guardian, just as recorded in the mysterious Jade. When he recalled the terrifying power described in the Jade regarding low-grade celestial guardians, The short old man's heart could not help but stir. All the celestial guardians he had refined thus far were defective. None of them met the requirements described in that jade. According to the records, refining a celestial guardian from a soul transformation cultivator had an extremely slim success rate. If the target were an Ascendant cultivator, the odds improved slightly, but they were still pitifully low. Only peak late-stage Ascendant cultivators could raise the success rate to 1 in 10,000. Of course, there were exceptions. Those who had forged their own Tao could also reach that 1 in 10,000 chance. Clutching the celestial capture net, with these thoughts in mind, the old man waited. Within only a few breaths, Wang Lin emerged from the void directly in front of him. Almost the instant Wang Lin appeared, the old man shouted and hurled the celestial capture net forward. The net expanded without limit, spreading endlessly until it seemed to become the very sky and earth themselves. Wang Lin had already noticed the net through his divine sense. With his naturally cautious temperament, he had immediately judged that this treasure was far from ordinary. After all, the old man had taken it out and even stopped fleeing. This alone showed his confidence in its power. Although Wang Lin did not know why the old man had not used it earlier, his vigilance rose sharply. The moment he appeared, he secretly prepared countless teleportation spells beneath his feet. With a single thought, he could pierce through space and forcibly escape. The celestial capture net fused with the world itself. A ray of green light descended from the heavens, while another rose from the earth. The two beams shot toward each other at terrifying speed, closing in. Trap him! Trap him! Trap him! The short old man seemed to go mad, staring at the converging green light. His muttering turned into hysterical shouting. Trap him! It must trap him! His face flushed, red fists, clenched tight veins bulging across his forehead. Wang Lin snorted coldly. This green light was simply too strange. His divine sense could not even penetrate it. True to his cautious nature, he immediately activated greater teleportation, intending to escape the instant it closed in. But at that very moment, the green light suddenly accelerated and contracted at an unimaginable speed. Yet its target was not Wang Lin. It was the nearly crazed short old man himself. The old man's face drained of all color. He hastily retreated, repeatedly muttering in panic. "Don't tie me up. Don't tie me up. Don't tie me up. I freed all of you. You can't tie me up. You can't tie me up. Ah, I beg you, celestial capture net, leave me a path of survival." Wang Lin was momentarily stunned. In the next instant, the green light flashed and completely enveloped the old man. Flames burst from his body as he attempted to escape, but the moment they appeared, they were extinguished. The old man's face twisted in despair as he screamed, "You ungrateful celestial capture net! You only ever bind me and never the enemy." A golden light erupted from his body, only to vanish immediately. "Your original owner must have died because of you." The bitterness in the old man's heart was beyond words. He frantically activated one escape spell after another, but even after more than 10 different techniques, not a single one succeeded. He could only watch helplessly as the green light completely sealed him. The light faded, transforming back into the faintly glowing celestial capture net. The short old man was bound so tightly that he could not even move a finger. Then he was delivered directly into Wang Lin's hands. Wang Lin had fought countless enemies in his lifetime, but in more than 700 years. This was the first time he had ever seen an opponent bound by their own treasure and personally delivered to him. He was certain that even if 7,000 years passed, it would be difficult to witness such a scene again. Even with Wang Lin's mental fortitude, he could not help but be startled. For a moment, Wang Lin did not know whether to laugh or cry. At the same time, his fear of the celestial capture net instantly rose to an astonishing level. He had personally seen the old man activate countless escape spells, yet all of them had failed under the net's power. Bound tightly by the celestial capture net, the old man looked at Wang Lin with a wronged expression and shouted angrily, "Never seen someone deliver themselves before. So what if this old man's treasure failed?" Even with Wang Lin's temperament, he could not help but smile faintly. Such a smile was exceedingly rare for him. The short old man snorted. At this point he no longer cared. His timid nature had been suppressed for far too long. In his heart he believed himself to be the most wronged cultivator in existence. He had obtained a lucky encounter that anyone would envy, yet in the end, he was ruined by the very treasures that encounter had bestowed upon him. Huffa. This old man was just unlucky this time. If you want to kill me, then do it. Despite his words, his heart was pounding with fear. Wang Lin withdrew his smile, returning to his usual indifference. Grabbing the old man, he vanished. Back at the castle, most of the cultivators had already taken the chance to escape when Wang Lin pursued the old man. Without the celestial seeds, they immediately regained their freedom. Still a few remained. Sun Ronan was one of them. She stared at the sky, a complex expression flickering in her eyes. No one knew what she was thinking. Wang Lin reappeared from the void and coldly swept his gaze over the remaining people. Only a handful were left. Upon seeing him, they all clasped their hands respectfully and repeatedly expressed their gratitude. All except Sun Ronan. She acted as though she did not see Wang Lin at all, continuing to stare blankly into the sky. Wang Lin returned the salute to the departing cultivators. Then his left hand shot out, grabbing Sun Ronan as he flew off into the distance. The remaining cultivators watched him leave, feeling as though the past several years had been nothing more than a dream. After exchanging farewells, they scattered. "Let me go. What right do you have to capture me?" Sun Ronan snapped out of her daze the moment Wang Lin seized her and began struggling violently. "Shut up." Wang Lin's voice struck her like an icy wind, instantly silencing her. She soon sneered. "I know why you caught me. You want to use me as a cultivation furnace. Fine, do whatever you want. Just let me go afterward." As Wang Lin flew, he turned his head to look at her. His gaze was utterly ruthless, as if he were staring at a corpse. "You are not qualified to be my cultivation furnace." His speed increased, and in a single step he crossed tens of thousands of kilometers. Sun Yunshan stood anxiously in the distance, surrounded by more than 10 cultivators collapsed on the ground. His heart was in turmoil when his eyes suddenly narrowed. A ray of light approached and transformed into Wang Lin. Wang Lin held a man in one hand and a woman in the other. Sun Yunshan's gaze immediately fell upon the familiar female figure. Ronan, joy surged into his eyes, only to be replaced by a complicated expression moments later. He turned his gaze to Wang Lin's other hand. Ancestor. Even though he had mentally prepared himself, Sun Yunshan was still shaken upon seeing this. Wang Lin landed and waved his left hand, tossing Sun Ronan towards Sun Yunshan. Then he extended his hand toward the void, and the Killin rushed over. The instant it appeared, all the green lines within the bodies of the fallen cultivators and within Sun Yunshan himself trembled violently, before condensing into dots and being devoured by the Killin. The beast roared happily, then transformed into a soul fragment and was absorbed back into Wang Lin. "Brother Sun, the restriction has been removed, and your sister has been saved. As for your martial uncles, you must find them yourself. As for the one held within my soul-refining sect, I will release him. Farewell." With that, Wang Lin seized the short old man who claimed to be from the celestial realm and teleported away. He was too lazy to involve himself in the dispute between the siblings. Wang Lin reappeared inside the tower of the soul-refining tribe. Casually tossing the old man onto the ground, he sat down cross-legged. His eyes shone like blazing torches as he tapped his bag of holding. 3 rays of sword energy flew out. The sword tips radiated cold, terrifying auras as they pressed against the old man's skin. These 3 swords belonged to Zishu, Moyang, and Haiju. After being refined by Wang Lin, their sword energies fused together. The mastery of the 3 swords merged, fully activating them. "This is Sword Saint Ling Tianho's triple talent sword formation," Wang Lin said calmly. "I wonder if you've heard of it." The old man trembled violently as his small eyes locked onto the 3 treasured swords. Wang Lin continued slowly. "When your celestial capture net releases you, if you make even the slightest movement, I'll let you experience the mysteries of the triple talent sword formation. He had learned the name of this formation when he soul-searched Haiju. The 12 swords were divided into groups of 3. When all 12 were activated, they formed the heaven-slaying 12-sword formation, Sword Saint Ling Tianho's proudest creation. Now Wang Lin said, his voice carrying a demonic chill, "Tell me who you really are." With his experience, Wang Lin had already seen through the old man's cowardly nature. "If you refuse to speak, I'll use a soul search. Then I'll refine your soul into a soul fragment so you can never enter the cycle of reincarnation." That's all for today's content. See you in the next part. Support me by becoming a member. It will give me more motivation. Thank you so much.